They may not deserve your forgiveness, but you deserve peace. Let me show you how to release that pain and move on for good. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be speaking about forgiveness. Yes, forgiveness. As we all know, as many of you know rather, Day of Atonement is coming up, and that's a day where we spend afflicting ourselves before God. We ask Him for forgiveness on behalf of the sins that we've committed throughout the year so that we can have a clean and fresh start. But it really dawned on me today, how can we ask the Most High God for forgiveness when we aren't willing to forgive those around us who may have wronged us? And believe me, I know this is easier said than done. Forgiveness is a very challenging thing, but it is essential when it comes to our personal growth and moving forward in life. So today we're going to learn tips on how to forgive those who hurt you. Number one, you have to acknowledge your feelings. Really acknowledge them and validate how you feel in the moment. What truly caused your emotions? You need to be able to recognize the pain, the anger, the betrayal, whatever be it may, that was caused in this situation. Don't try to suppress it. Sometimes we tend to put things under the rug, and over time, all that does is just add fuel to the fire. It leads to some type of explosion happening down the line, and now we're recapping things that happened years ago when it's totally irrelevant to the situation because we never addressed it head on. Allow yourself to truly acknowledge these feelings so that you can embrace the healing process. Number two, I want you to really understand the impact of holding grudges. You know, I've seen a quote, I'm sure we're all familiar with it, where it says that holding on to anger, holding on to a grudge, it's like drinking poison and expecting someone else to be unalived. It's silly. Holding on to all that anger, all that resentment, all that bitterness, all it does is just hurt you in the end. Because think about it. While you're here holding a grudge towards someone else, this other individual, they're not even thinking about you. They're living their life. They're going out with their friends. They see you. They go on about your day. But every time you see that person in the back of your mind, you just get so frustrated, so angry, so bitter again. Your blood pressure is going up. Everything is just out of whack. It's just harming you in the process, mentally and physically. Let me tell you, work is one of the battlefields when it comes to trying to get your spirit right, because there's so many different spirits that you're working with. You know, of course, patients, but mostly staff, because these are the people that you see on the daily. And I remember this individual was really just coming at me crazy. And I had to really just allow myself to breathe. I had to call my husband. I had to let him know because I wanted to just go off on this person. This actually happened recently. And part of me just it made me realize that this is something I really have to learn to let go of. Or this is something that I really need to work on, is not allowing other individuals to have power over me when it comes to disagreements and stuff at work. Like, of course, conflict and stuff, that's inevitable. It happens at work, but we can't have conflict without having some type of resolution. But in the case that there's no resolution, you can't let what happened in the workplace affect you in your day-to-day life. Like, I remember I got into it with this individual, like we had a disagreement, and I went home and I was still upset. And I had to really think to myself, why am I bringing this home with me? Why is this individual still in my mind? Like, why am I giving this individual so much power to just allow me to be miserable when I done clocked out hours ago? Like, why is this person still on my mind? You gotta learn to let it go. You gotta detach. You gotta learn how to not take things personal. And I'm speaking to you, but while I'm speaking to you, I'm literally speaking to myself, because this is something that I need to work on. And honestly, recognizing that freedom is about letting go of emotional baggage can motivate you to let it go. Next, you need to decide to forgive, because forgiveness is a choice. It's not something that comes automatically. Even if your emotions have not caught up yet, you must still choose to forgive. Why? Because that's the first step in releasing the hurt. And again, Day of Atonement, it's coming up again. Think of all the times that you've said to God, God, I promise I won't do this again. God, I'm not gonna do this. If you get me out the situation, I promise I will do this. I'll stop doing this. Like, we've made so many empty promises to God, asking for His forgiveness. And yet, when it comes to forgiving someone who may have wronged us once or twice or however many occasions, we can't forgive them. Like, at this point, you have to look at it from that angle. If we truly want to be like the Most High God, we must emulate His forgiveness. You honestly have to come to a point where you're like, you know what? I choose to be the bigger person. I choose me. I choose healing. I choose peace. I choose gentleness. I choose the fruit of the Spirit. And choosing the fruit of the Spirit does not consist of anger, jealousy, envy, bitterness, nothing of the sort. And if you're going to honestly decide to forgive this person, you also, which leads me to my next point, need to let go of the need of revenge. In this generation, we are so big on clap back, getting your clap back. Oh, you did me dirty? Oh, she not gonna see my clap back. She's not gonna be ready for that. You're not gonna be ready for my clap back, because when I am done with you, I am Petty LaBelle. Don't try. That's us. That's one of the reasons why our community is the way it is. We don't understand the basics of communication and like Matthew 18. If someone did you wrong, just communicate with the person instead of just feeling the need to get revenge. If someone did you dirty, let go of the need to revenge or get vengeance on this person. Leave that to the Most High God. The scripture says, vengeance is mine. Me, what I think in my head, I always think of that saying, what goes around comes around. And my mom always told me God does not like ugly. It's a bit of a Jamaican proverb. So the things that we do will and somehow affect us in the future. So we don't need to feel the need to get back at people or do something in return just to, feel some type of short-term gratification. No, you do what you do is right. You abide by the golden rule. You treat people how you want to be treated, and let God deal with people. Let God's judgment deal with people. Let that be the satisfaction that you need. And also, let me clarify, I don't mean that to say that you should look forward to someone's downfall. Nothing of the sort, no. But you can have peace in the fact that you don't have to go out and try to be tit for tat with anyone, because in the end, God will deal with people according to their actions. And think about it, like seeking revenge or waiting for them to feel how bad you felt, that only prolongs your suffering. And what does that mean of you? If you're willing to stoop down to that level to actually get back at someone, it shows that you have no maturity, you have no growth. You're literally at this person's level. Two wrongs will never make a right. You remember when we were kids, we would always watch those movies or TV shows where you would have the bully making fun of the nerd, or the kids who were like on the lower social chain, and eventually those people would get annoyed. They would get fed up and feel like they would need to take their revenge on those bullies and do some type of stunt where they would embarrass them or just make them feel some type of pain or suffering that they've been going through for years with this individual. And of course, it might look like they have some type of gratification in the moment, but those kids, the ones who are bullied, you can see where they felt disappointed, where they felt sad with their actions. They felt bad for this individual, because two wrongs don't make a right. In order to alleviate some type of conflict, you don't meet someone with the same actions. You have to be the bigger person. You have to come with something different. And so seeking vengeance and actually pursuing it, all it does is just prolong the suffering. It doesn't make anything better. It just makes it worse for you and the other individual. So just leave it in the Most High God's hands. Next, empathize with the other person. Try to understand or gain some type of perspective as to why they could have possibly felt the way they did or acted the way they did. And this in no means justifies their actions, okay? If they did something that hurt you, it hurt you. It is what it is. But I want you to try to understand why this person may have reacted the way that they did. Because I've learned that shifting their focus from anger to understanding can make it easier to forgive. If someone were to come at me all crazy coming into work saying, "Oh my gosh, you're in my way, move." Of course, I'm gonna get upset too. Like, excuse me, who you talking to? But if I can get some type of understanding, like, okay, maybe they were running late, maybe something happened as to why this person was speaking to me that way, because this is not this person's ordinary. Like, this isn't their regular. They don't normally speak to me like this. Something obviously happened at home, or this is going on in their personal life as to why they're doing this. And again, this is no way to excuse that behavior, no, but it's just to give you that better foresight as to why these things could have happened. And doing that for me honestly helps me to look past things and not take them personal. This is something that I've honestly had to learn at work, because when I was a new nurse, I was always wondering, why are these patients always coming at me? Yeah, when I first started out as a new nurse, the way I had a lot to learn, I'll say that, as a new nurse, okay? I had to learn not to take things personal. I had to learn that these are people in their most vulnerable state, going through things. Like, some of them aren't able to go back to the way they were living before. Some of them probably can't speak properly. They can't walk properly. They can't do for themselves as they would like to. And that's a frustrating thing. And so they take it on you. They project on you. And you can't take it personally because they're just projecting their frustrations. I deal with this probably every time I go to work, honestly. And I've learned to just stop taking it personal because, again, these are people in their most vulnerable state. Does it excuse that behavior? No, but because I can gain some type of understanding as to why these people are projecting, it makes it easier for me to just move on or forgive them and not take it personal. Next, I want you to learn that you can set boundaries. Just because you forgive someone doesn't mean that you have to let them back in your life again. Let's get that thing straight. Sorry, I had to move due to the lighting, but yes, there's a saying that goes forgive and forget, but personally, I don't agree with that entirely because yes, I will forgive you for what you've done, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to remain ignorant of the fact that you have done this action that caused me great hurt in the past. For instance, if my best friend of 28 years were to go in my house and take my personal belongings, my money, my phone, just hypothetical, am I going to forgive her? I can choose to do that. But does that mean I'm just going to lay my purse lying next to her when we're alone? No. You have to be smart. You have to use wisdom and discernment and everything. That's clearly something that this person is battling, the spirit of theft. So I'm going to need to learn to move wisely with you. I'm not going to just leave you open to temptation to hurt me again and take my stuff. You know what I'm saying? I hope I phrased that right, because sometimes my mind thinks quicker than my mouth, so my words get a bit jumbled, but I think you guys were able to pick up what I'm saying. I'm going to start to move smart with you in the future. I'm not going to invite you to tempt me or to hurt me again, but I know what you're capable of. I do forgive you, no doubt do, but I'm going to move with you in the future a bit more wisely. I'm going to be using a bit more discretion. And personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And again, you can forgive this person, but you don't have to necessarily let this person have full access in your life again. You can just choose to be cordial with this person when you see them. Hi, how are you doing? How's your day? How's the family? Oh, I love that. That's wonderful. You can just keep it strictly just platonic. It doesn't have to go anything deep. Next, find a way to release that resentment. So if you need to go to the gym, if that's something that's going to help you get that anger off, that steam off, then do it. If you need to go punch that punching bag, and do that. If you do on the treadmill, if you need to go running, even if you like journaling, sometimes, I know for me, I'm a journaler. I love to write things down because I feel like I can express myself more through writing than through speaking. So I like to journal. Or if you want to speak to a therapist or a trusted individual, there's so many ways to release that resentment so you're not harboring it all in. You could even go as far to write down everything that you're feeling and then rip it up. Rip it up, throw it away, and let that throwing it away be symbolic of you letting it go, releasing it so that it has no more power over you. Next, focus on the present. Staying fixated on what happened in the past, a month ago, 2 months ago, 2 years ago, how's that going to affect your growth? You're not going to grow at all because you're still stuck on something that happened many moons ago. Shift your energy from what was to positive things that are happening in your life right now. Shift your focus. What are some things that you're grateful for, what you're happy for, what you're excited for? What are some dreams and aspirations that you have? What's your next goal? You need to learn from this experience and ask yourselves, what can I learn from this experience that happened to me with this individual? Is it that I can do better at my communication, do better at recognizing red flags, do better at active listening? What are some things that I can gain from this so that I can move on in the future to not avoid something like this from ever having so much power over me? Again, for me, I had to learn that I really struggle with patience. I struggle with internalizing things. I struggle with letting things go, bringing it home, and then possibly projecting it onto my, God forbid, I don't want to do that. So I had to really sit down and self-examine within myself. I had to take accountability for my actions, regardless of how I felt, and realize, okay, this is what I need to do so that I no longer am dealing with this. I'm no longer feeling this way. I'm no longer allowing this energy or this person or these people to have so much power over me. I want to truly be able to hold my peace in any situation. I need to know and truly believe that the scriptures say, thou will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed upon thee. I need to learn to focus more on Christ, on the scriptures, so that when those situations come, my mind's not going to be all over the place because I'm fixated on the author of peace. So I know he's going to give me peace in the moment. Next, seek closure on your terms. I had to learn personally, sometimes I had to be okay with getting an apology that I never got. I had to create my own closure. I had to say, you know what? This person may have done me dirty, but I choose to move on because I choose growth. I choose maturity. I choose to walk this walk that I so often talk about to other individuals. And part of that is letting go and putting all that foolishness aside. I know that doesn't mean that your feelings are foolishness, but it just means that you choose to not allow a certain event to isolate you or stunt your growth. You choose to move forward in the future and move on. And hopefully this other person can look at your example and say, wow, I really messed up. You know, I really did. Let your example to them motivate them to be a better person. Let your willingness to move on, let your kindness after them, regardless of how they treated you, be a conviction to them in how they treated you. Honestly, just let your actions speak louder than your words. And honestly, forgive yourself. If you had any role in the situation, maybe you didn't have to lash out that way. Maybe you did initiate the argument because of how you spoke to this person or the way you were doing something. Like, whatever role that you may have played, acknowledge that and forgive yourself. Realize that you're not perfect, you're still a work in progress, and I don't mean that as a way to justify what you did, but realize that you're still, again, a work in progress. Don't just, sit there and wallow in your sins, like the scriptures say, a just man falls down 7 times, gets up 8. But self-forgiveness truly is crucial to moving forward and healing. So yes, guys, again, forgiveness is not about condoning the wrongful actions of others, it's about reclaiming your peace. And again, as Day of Atonement is coming up, we too would like peace. We would like peace of mind knowing that we are afflicting our souls to God and He hears us and that He will give us a clean slate despite what we may have done throughout the year. We want to free ourselves from anger and hurt so that our future is not weighed down with our past full of hurt. I really hope that this video was helpful when it comes to forgiveness. I pray that you can learn to forgive someone who may have wronged you, either if it happened recently or that which will happen in the future, because it will happen. And honestly, even if it's just forgiving yourself, I pray that this video has helped you learn to do that as well. I'll see you guys in my next one. Shalom.